Hey, Viking fans, this is Keith Millard, and you are listening to the One Bar and Lupicus Show. Go Vikes!
All right, welcome back to another episode of One Bar in Lupicus. I'm One Bar, and it's been a while with all this free agency frenzy, Patrick Peterson, all that fun stuff since we've talked a little draft. So I want to look at the free agency moves, the Vikings, people they brought in, people they let go. Let's see how this actually affects the Vikings draft plans and if it affects the draft plans. Remember, subscribe to the channel, like the video. It's close to 2,500. Hashtag sauce for the Klein Saucer print. Let's do this. Let's just do a quick recap of as far as the Vikings offseason so far. Guys they've let go: Kyle Rudolph, Dan Bailey, Riley Reif, Shamar Stephen. Guys we've brought in. They've brought in Dalvin Tomlinson, the big boy defensive tackle, Nick Vigil, the guard who, or not guard, I wish it was a guard, linebacker that is appears to be a little bit of, it's going to be a little bit before he's officially signed, but he's coming here. Re-signed Rashad Hill, re-signed Chad Beebe, and big old PP, the big splashy signing to go with Tomlinson at cornerback. So the Vikings, I think it's fair to say they've been a little more active than expected. Clearly, they're still missing on some very big positions like guard, safety. We'll talk about that, but let's look at how this affects the draft. And no, the Vikings are probably not done in free agency. Are they going to sign some big old names yet? Probably not, but they'll sign some Tajay Sharps, guys like that to help fill in the gaps. So let's look at some of the bigger needs. And when I say how this affects the draft, I'm talking first 3 rounds. We know we don't have that second rounder, but mostly really that first round pick. So let's do this. So bigger needs: offensive tackle, guard. We know that is a big fat need as of right now. And one of the biggest question marks is what are they going to do at tackle? Is it going to be Ezra Cleveland's job? Are they going to leave him at guard? Hopefully draft somebody in round one. In round one, when we're looking at guards and tackles, Elijah Vera Tucker, Rashawn Slater. Rashawn Slater is going to be a pipe dream. He's going to be long gone, but we can dream. We can hope. Darrisaw is probably the more realistic option in offensive tackle. You got Sam Cosmes. You got a handful of guys after that are just kind of up in the air, a coin flip. But when we look at this position, the position itself, offensive tackle, is absolutely on the table. Guard is absolutely on the table for that round 1 pick. In fact, I think in my mind, this is the biggest need for the Vikings now. And again, it's going to be all dependent on what they do with Ezra Cleveland. My thinking is Ezra Cleveland's going to be their tackle, and we're going to be looking at Elijah Vera Tucker. Vikings fans need to get very, very familiar with that name, because if he's there, and he should be at pick 14, Vera Tucker could definitely be the guy that they just plug in day one at guard, because we know we need somebody in the first 3 rounds to go at guard. And ideally, I don't want to say it, but ideally it's that first round pick, because we need 2 guards right now. We have 0. We have absolutely no guard. So guard is on the table. In a miracle, Rashawn Slater's falls, and the bubbly is popping left and right. So that is still a big old need. In fact, it's probably bigger than it was a month ago, because everyone was hoping we were going to just squash at least one of those guard positions in free agency. Didn't happen. Let's look at defensive tackle. Defensive tackle has been one that we've talked about for the whole offseason. They bring in Dalvin Tomlinson. Everybody's wondering what the hell they're going to do with these 2 big boys. Well, Tomlinson's going to be our 3 tech. Michael Pierce is going to be our big boy. So they're going to make it work. And even if it doesn't work, they're not going to be drafting no defensive tackle in the first 3 rounds. Maybe somebody falls and they get him with that later 3rd round pick or in the 4th round, but there's no way. I mean, before it was even would be a big surprise. They would have had to trade back, get Barmore. Ain't happening. They got their defense tackles. They got bigger needs. Let's go to edge. Edge still absolutely on the table. We let go of Denebo. Denebo is Gonzo. We bring in Stephen Weatherly, a very familiar name, but let's be real. He's not really going to squash any big needs. Daniil Hunter, yes, he will be here, barring some crazy-ass trade. So an edge is still on the table. I think even in round 1, Equity Pay, Greg Rousseau, again, kind of like offensive tackle. There's a lot of those guys just clumped in together where they're all good. They all have their special traits, and the Vikings adding another piece, an edge rusher to this defensive line that's already damn good, could be interesting. I could get on board with that. Cornerback, as long as Zimmer here, cornerback, it was always on the table. But the fact that Patrick Peterson just got $10 million, pairing him up with those 2 rookies, we got Harrison Hand, Chris Boyd, still some intriguing guys there. Cornerback is not happening. Not happening. Not in round 1. And if we trade in the round 2, it ain't happening in round 2. Maybe round 3. Like I said, it's Zimmer. We're going to take a corner. We'll probably take multiple corners, just a matter of when. Bigger needs, bigger fish to fry. No go. Safety has always been the same thing where it's just a matter of if there's a guy there. And 14, man, Morig. I mean, there's some guys. Richie Grant is just skyrocketing, but that would be quite the leap at pick 14. A trade back, absolutely on the table. Still an absolute need. They have not squashed that in free agency whatsoever. And then final, just as far as needs go, wide receiver. And again, as early as round 1, wide receiver could actually be on the table. If Devontae Smith, even though he weighs 110 pounds soaking wet, if he's there, the value's still there. Pairing him up on this offense is an option. And as much as that might make people cringe because we have bigger needs, sometimes you just go best player available. It's panned out and it's worked out for the Vikings in the past. So I think wide receiver is still on the table. So those are the bigger needs that we've talked about. And really a majority of them are still options. It's just mostly defensive tackle, cornerback, gonzo, edge, iffy if the right guy is there, if they're absolutely in love with them. But offensive tackle and guard, let's get used to it because it's going to happen. It's just a matter of who. Even a trade back in the later round one, get that second round pick and still getting like a Dylan Radins. That would be fantastic. Let me know in the comments below. What are you thinking draft wise? What is your biggest need? And remember, #sauce.